speed, anytime.
So getting back to the storyline of Ecstasy, how is it different from Trainspotting? In that Trainspotting was more Scottish, now it's more multicultural of scene, you know?
Yeah, sure. The comparisons between Trainspotting and Ecstasy are going to be made. And they're going to be made automatically because of Irvine, the writing, the setting. How are they different? Two totally different eras in culture. Trainspotting is set in a time where Britain has been privatised. Margaret Thatcher has sold up the country. There's huge mass unemployment in Scotland. And hence the reason the drug culture, the poll tax was experimented in Scotland before it was even introduced to England. Margaret Thatcher experimented with this new tax where everybody paid the same bandwidth of tax. Now, I didn't pay tax at that time myself, but my parents were very much part of it. I lived that life. And there was a huge depression in Scotland at that time, which firstly manifested itself from drink, and then became the heroin problem in Edinburgh, and it was a huge problem. Edinburgh was the AIDS capital of the world at one point due to sharing of needles, etc. So he was very much touching on that time with Trainspotting. So let's jump forward 10 years. Things get a little bit better. We're now suffering from it now in this modern day and age with the mortgages and people. But we had a bit of a boom time, and people went from the aggression of heroin and drinking to all of a sudden this club culture came in. Now I was 18 when it kicked in. I remember going out to Glasgow the first time and going into a club and thinking, "Fuck, I've arrived. This is where I'm meant to be." There was a camaraderie between people. There was love, that people were taking something, they were getting off their heads and they were getting high, but it was all based on sharing it together and being part. And I remember thinking to myself, this is why they call it clubbing. You were part of a club, you were part of something. So I think it's tackling two very different eras in time in Scotland. And also, we like I say, we move forward in time, and the world has become much more of a global, we refer to it as a global village, Back in the early 80s, I don't imagine there was a lot of people coming to Scotland to work or whatever, or people transgressing different countries, and it's developed more and more and more as the years have gone on. I go to Britain and work, and I commute to London from Los Angeles. It's stupid. We live, as I say, the world's become smaller, and I think that's much more relevant in the Ecstasy story.
So you think it's very important to tell this Ecstasy